Jack Harper crouched behind a ruined wall as the Zoran invaders advanced across the broken ground. Dust rose around his boots when he shifted forward. He felt the weight of his rifle against his shoulder. Sweat trickled down his forehead as he studied the alien shapes moving in the dim light. He took a deep breath and steadied his hand. His squad followed his lead. Lily, the team medic, stayed close to Noah, the engineer. Both kept their eyes on Jack's signals. The sound of blaster fire echoed in the distance. Jack raised his hand and pointed. The squad opened fire in unison. Bright bolts of energy cut through the haze. One Zoran warrior charged with a metal blade that glowed with inner light. Jack fired a quick burst and the alien staggered back. Lily moved to tend Noah, who winced after a near hit. Jack saw his chance. He ran forward and dropped to one knee. He aimed at another Zoran as it prepared to fire. Suddenly, a small figure darted past Jack's leg and darted toward cover. Jack lowered his rifle and watched it slip behind a chunk of rubble. He frowned. The figure looked like a child. He scanned the area. Nothing else moved so fast. Jack stood and stepped forward. He raised a hand. "Stop," he said firmly. The squad paused. Noah frowned. Lily lowered her medkit. Jack walked toward the rubble and looked around. There, trembling, was a tiny creature no taller than a child's foot. It had pale lavender skin and large eyes that shone with fear. Jack, single quotes, S heart pounded. He dropped to one knee and spoke softly. "I won't hurt you." The creature froze. Its eyes darted between Jack and the ruined battlefield. Jack held out a hand. The creature hesitated. Its head tilted slightly. Jack whispered, "It's okay." "Come here," the creature shook. It clutched something small and glowing against its chest. Jack tilted his head. He wanted to know what it held. Before he could move, a Zoran patrol crossed in front of them. They had spotted the squad. A beam of energy shot past Jack's shoulder. Jack grabbed the creature and pulled it close. The being's body stiffened against his chest. Jack tucked it inside his jacket. He signaled to the squad, "Fall back." The squad moved quickly. Jack gave covering fire while Noah loaded the wounded into a hover carrier. Lily helped a soldier who had been hit in the leg. The aliens were still advancing in waves, but the humans held the line. Jack scrambled toward the carrier. He hopped inside and closed the door. Lily gave him a quick nod. The carrier lifted. Jack pressed his back against the wall. He felt the creature's small weight and listened to its soft breathing. The carrier shot upward above the battlefield. Shells and blasts lit up below. Jack watched through a small window as the ground fell away. He glanced at the creature. Its eyes were wide with fear. He placed a gentle hand on its head. "You're safe now," he said. The carrier docked at Orbital Station Horizon. Alarms blared as the station prepared for more attacks. Jack carried the creature through the corridors. No one blocked his path. They all watched in surprise. A human soldier rescued a strange alien being. Jack arrived at the squad's bay. He sat the creature on a padded table. It curled into a ball. Its tiny hands gripped the glowing object. Jack leaned close. "What are you holding?" he asked softly. The creature raised its head. It opened its mouth and spoke in a quiet voice. Jack nearly jumped. Lily and Noah rushed in. They all stared. The creature repeated a word. It sounded like Maya. Jack's heart skipped. The alien spoke his language. Maya's eyes fluttered closed. She reached out her hand. Jack gently placed his finger against her palm. She closed her hand around it. He felt her warmth. He nodded to Lily. "We need to help her rest. She's hurt." Lily examined Maya's small body. She found no wounds but noted signs of exhaustion. Jack watched. Worry filled his chest. He had saved this tiny alien from danger. Now he needed to keep her safe. As night fell on horizon, Jack found a quiet corner. He built a small shelter from spare parts. Soft lights glowed around it. He placed Maya inside. She looked around with curiosity. Jack sat beside her. He spoke in gentle tones and told her about Earth and the station. Maya listened. Her eyes grew heavy. She rested her head on Jack's shoulder and closed her eyes. Jack looked at the distant stars through the window. He thought of Aura 5 and the planet he had saved her from. He bowed his head and made a promise in silence. He would protect her, he would learn her secrets, and he would show everyone that mercy mattered more than fear. Jack Harper walked into the grand hall of Orbital Station Horizon with cautious steps. The hall shone with polished metal and bright lights. Banners of Earth's alliance hung on the walls. Soldiers and diplomats lined the sides. Their eyes followed Jack as he carried a small cage covered by a cloth. His heart pounded under his uniform. Jack paused at the center of the hall. The admiral stood beside a raised platform. The admiral's uniform bore medals and ribbons. His stern face showed respect. Beside him stood two tall figures in alien robes. Their skin was pale blue, and their eyes glowed faintly. These were members of the Zoran High Council. Jack knelt and bowed his head. The crowd fell silent. In his hands, the covered cage felt warm. He looked up at the admiral. The admiral gave a slight nod. Jack lifted the cloth. Inside sat Maya, the tiny alien woman he had rescued. She shivered but held her head high. Her pale lavender skin glowed under the bright lights. She wore simple robes woven from Zoran silk. The admiral cleared his throat. His voice echoed in the hall. Captain Harper, your actions on Aurora 5 saved. This life, you showed mercy when many would have shown none. For this we honor you. Jack rose slowly. He met Maya's gaze. Her large eyes were full of trust. He said in a calm voice, I only did what was right. The admiral motioned to the Zoran council members. The taller Zoran stepped forward. His voice was soft but carried power. We offer you Maya as a symbol of our gratitude. She is a member of our people and represents hope for unity between our worlds. The council member paused. May she serve as a living bridge between humans and Zorans. Murmurs rose in the hall. Some humans exchanged uneasy glances. Others looked curious. A few frowned. Several Zorans stepped back, their robes fluttering. Maya's small voice came next. She spoke in perfect English, her tone polite. I accept this honor, Captain Harper. I wish to learn of your world and share my own. She lowered her head respectfully. Jack's chest tightened. He had not expected her to speak so well. He held out his hand. Maya placed her slender fingers in his. The audience watched in silence as he gently lifted her from the cage. She climbed onto his palm. Her robes brushed against his uniform. Jack bowed once more, then stood tall. From the back of the hall, voices whispered. A human diplomat stepped forward. She held a datapad and cleared her throat. Captain Harper, what do you intend to do with this Zoran citizen? Jack looked at Maya. She met his eyes and nodded. He turned back to the diplomat. I intend to protect her. I will learn her language and customs. I will show our leaders that she is not a prize but a partner. He paused. I will help build a future where humans and Zorans live in peace. The diplomat tapped her datapad. Her face softened. She nodded and stepped aside. The council member spoke again. Captain Harper, your words bring honor to both our peoples. We grant you full responsibility for Maya's welfare. He waved his hand. Two Zoran guards bowed and withdrew. Jack led Maya down a side corridor. The banners and lights gave way to quiet halls lined with crew quarters. He carried her to a small room near the medical bay. Inside, a mixture of human and Zoran technology created a gentle glow. Soft carpeting covered the floor. A tiny bed sat in one corner. Jack placed Maya on it. Maya looked around. She stepped off the bed and felt the carpet under her feet. She smiled. Thank you, Captain Harper. This is kind. Jack watched her voice and movements carefully. Lily joined them, carrying a medical scanner. She greeted Maya softly and began a simple checkup. Noah stood by the door with a tablet in hand. Jack leaned against the wall. His mind raced. He thought of Aurora 5's cold deserts and burning battlefields. Now he was here in this warm room with a tiny alien princess. Responsibility felt heavy on his shoulders. He looked at Maya's peaceful face and made a silent promise. He would not fail her. As Lily checked Maya's vitals, Noah spoke quietly to Jack. We'll need to adapt some of the station systems. Maya's species has different needs: temperature, gravity, atmosphere. We should design a small habitat and adjust the life support. Jack nodded. Lily finished and smiled. She's stable. Just tired. Give her time to rest. Maya closed her eyes and lay down. Jack sat beside her and folded his hands. Outside the room, the hum of the station continued. Announcements echoed faintly. Repair teams to Section C, cargo dock clearance complete, drill scheduled in 2 hours. Life moved on. Jack thought of the ceremony and the council's gift. The strange reward had changed everything. He had begun as a soldier. Now he was a guardian. He thought of his squad. Lily and Noah expected him to lead. He realized he would need their help more than ever. Jack rose and stepped to the door. He opened it and called softly, "Lily, Noah, come in, please." They entered. Jack pointed at a storage cabinet. "We need supplies. Bedding, food, clothing sized for Maya, and equipment for language translation." "Can you start that?" Lily nodded. Noah tapped his tablet. "I'll interface with the station's database. I can get what we need. Gannett in logistics can help with shipping." He smiled at Maya. Jack watched Maya sleep. He felt a mixture of awe and fear. A tiny alien woman lay before him, a living treasure. He would learn her ways and protect her. His life would never be the same. Outside the room, shadows moved in the corridor. 2 figures approached. One was a human in a dark suit, the other was a Zoran with a jeweled staff. They spoke in low tones. Jack couldn't hear the words, but their body language spoke of tension. Jack stepped outside quietly and followed. The human spoke first, voice tense. The Zoran shook his head, staff tapping the floor. Jack slowed and kept his distance. The conversation ended. The human raised his hand to his communicator and spoke. The Zoran turned and walked away. Jack's frown deepened. He sensed danger. He returned to Maya's room and closed the door quietly. He crossed to the small window and stared down the long corridor. The 2 figures had disappeared. He took a deep breath and kneeled by Maya. He whispered, "Something is wrong. Someone does not trust this." Maya opened one eye and looked at him. She sat up slowly. "Captain, fear is in the air. I feel it too." He placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll keep you safe, I promise." Maya nodded and lay back down. Jack sat on a small stool. The station lights dimmed as night fell on horizon. Jack watched over Maya and thought of the strange reward that had bound his fate to hers. Tomorrow, he would face new challenges, but tonight he would guard her sleep. Jack Harper entered the small habitat room that he had built for Maya. He carried a tray with water and a tiny bowl of food. The room glowed with soft lights set at low heat. It was just big enough for the 2 of them. Walls lined with sensors. Adjusted air and gravity to match her home world. Jack placed the tray on a low table and stepped back. Maya sat on a small cushion. She touched the fabric and smiled. Her pale lavender skin glowed faintly in the light. She watched the tray with interest. Jack knelt and spoke softly. "This is Earth food. I hope it is okay." He offered her the bowl. Maya reached out and took it. She sniffed. Then she tasted a small spoonful. Her eyes lit up. Jack smiled. "Do you like it?" Maya nodded. She tried another bite. Then she looked at Jack. She spoke slowly, choosing her words. "Thank you. It is warm and sweet." Her voice held surprise. Jack felt relief. He had worried she might not eat human food. Maya put the bowl down. She reached into a small pouch at her side. She brought out a shining crystal the size of his palm. It pulsed with a soft blue light. Jack raised an eyebrow. Maya held it close to her chest. She spoke in her own tongue. Jack listened, then shook. His head, he could not understand. Maya looked at him and said in accented English, "It helps me speak." "I can learn your words." She placed the crystal on the table. The light faded. Jack leaned forward. He said slowly, "You said you can learn?" "Our words?" Maya nodded and closed her eyes. She placed her fingers on the crystal. The crystal glowed and hummed. Jack watched in wonder. After a moment, Maya opened her eyes. She looked at Jack. "I know this word, soldier." "You are soldier." She pointed at him. Jack felt a thrill. He smiled and said, "Yes, I am a soldier," Maya repeated. "Soldier." She looked pleased. Jack said, I am Jack Harper, Maya said. Jack Harper. She tried again and said it clearly. Jack clapped lightly. Maya giggled. She placed her hand in his. Jack led Maya to a small shelf. He pointed to items and spoke the names. He said, helmet. He lifted his helmet. Maya said, helmet. He said, rifle. He held his rifle. Maya said, rifle. She repeated several times. Jack nodded and said, good. Maya smiled. Jack brought out a small data pad. He opened a blank page. He drew a circle. He spoke Earth. Then he drew a star. He said, Aurora 5. Maya pointed to the circle. She said, Earth. Jack nodded. She pointed to the star. She said, Aurora 5. She looked at Jack and smiled. Jack spoke. Tell me about Aurora 5. Maya closed her eyes and thought. She spoke slowly. Home is green fields and tall trees. Sky is orange. People live in caves of crystal rock. Music is in wind. Jack listened and asked, Music in wind? Maya nodded. She held a small crystal from her pouch. She lifted it and moved it. Soft tones filled the room. Jack listened, amazed. Maya said, This is Song of Home. Jack closed his eyes. The tones were clear and gentle. He opened his eyes and looked at Maya. He said, It is beautiful. Maya nodded and smiled softly. Jack spent the next hours teaching Maya simple words. He showed her images on the datapad. He spoke the word and pointed. Maya repeated each. They learned words for food, water, friend, peace. Jack taught her about Earth, Sun, and Moon. Maya told him of 3 moons on Aurora 5. She drew circles on the pad and labeled them with their names. Luna, Silra, VKA. As the lesson went on, Jack felt joy in learning together. He saw how eager Maya was to understand. She placed her small hand on the pad and traced the words. Jack felt a connection deeper than words. Maya spoke. Your people value knowledge. Jack said, We do, but not always. Sometimes we fight to learn. He paused. You have shown me another way. Maya tilted her head. Jack said, Mercy and learning can go together. Maya repeated, Mercy and learning together. The room grew quiet as both thought. Maya then spoke softly, I want to see your world. Jack's heart quickened. He said, One day I will take you to Earth. But first we must show alliance is strong. Maya nodded. She said, I will help. Jack felt hope. Jack taught Maya to write her name in English letters. She held a tiny pen and wrote Maya. Jack smiled. He tapped his chest and said, Maya? She smiled back. As night came, Jack prepared a small bed and blanket. He said, Rest now, Maya. Tomorrow we learn more. Maya lay down and closed her eyes. She whispered, Thank you, Jack Harper. Jack watched her sleep. He felt proud and determined. Outside the habitat, Noah and Lily stood guard. They watched, ready to help. Jack stepped outside. He looked at the station lights. He thought of the bond he formed today. He knew their journey had just begun. He whispered to himself, Bonding and discovery is the path ahead. Then he returned to Maya's room and watched over her rest, ready for the next day's lessons. Jack Harper opened the door to the secure briefing room. The walls were gray and plain. A single table stood in the center. Medic Lily and Engineer Noah waited inside. Jack closed the door quietly behind him. Noah tapped his tablet. I've traced unusual signals near the cargo bay. It could be shadow agents. Lily frowned. Reports say Zoran extremists are planning to claim Maya for experiments. They want her biology data. Jack's jaw tightened. He said, We must stop them. We protect Maya at all costs. Lily spread out a hologram of the station. Tiny red dots. Marked corridors. They will come from this vent and that service hatch, she pointed. Noah added, They could use stealth suits. They adapt to shadows. Jack nodded. He drew a line around Maya's habitat. We set a perimeter. No one in or out without our say. They left the briefing room. Jack led them through dim corridors. Overhead lights flickered. He glanced at each corner. Lily carried a medkit. Noah held a small energy pistol. They stopped near the vent Lily had marked. A low hum came from inside. Jack knelt and peered in. He saw a dark shape moving. His heart pounded. He whispered, "They're here." Lily readied her scanner. Noah checked his pistol. Jack signaled them to move. They spread out. Jack crawled to one side of the vent and unscrewed the cover. Noah did the same on the other side. Lily stood back and watched the corridor. The vent cover slipped down. 3 figures in black suits dropped silently into the room. Their masks reflected the light. They carried small containment capsules. Jack fired a warning shot. The crack snapped in the air. The figures froze. One hissed in a strange tongue. Jack said, "Stop. You have no right here." The figure raised a hand and spoke into a communicator. Lily shouted, "They're in the clear." Security was disabled. Noah ran to a panel and began to hack. His fingers flew across the screen. Sparks flickered. The wall screen lit up. Red words flashed. "Security override," Noah cursed. "They've cut power to the locks. We need a manual override in the command deck." Jack looked at the agents. They moved toward Maya's habitat. Their leader clicked a device. The door hissed open. Jack lifted his pistol. "Stop right there." The agent raised the containment capsule. Inside lay a small device that pulsed like elixir. Lily stepped forward. "We'll not let you take her." Jack took a deep breath. He had a plan. He tapped his communicator. "Command deck, this is Harper. Manual doors, green light at Sector 7. "Repeat manual override," Static answered. Then a voice said, "Override accepted." "Doors open." Jack smiled. The habitat's outer door slid open. 2 security bots rolled to life. Their lights spun blue. They blocked the agent's path. The agents raised weapons. Jack and his team took positions. A tense moment passed. Then the bots activated a pulse. A soft wave pushed the agents back. They dropped their capsules. One person fired. The energy beam hit the bot. It sparked and spun away. Jack sprinted forward. He tackled the agent with the capsule. Lily moved to secure the second capsule. She smashed a panel on it. Acid hissed and leaked. Lily managed to lock it and carry it away. Jack rolled and stood. He grabbed the other agent's arm. The man tried to pull free. Jack said quietly, "Why are you doing this?" The agent's mask cracked. Jack saw fear. The man whispered, "They want data, biosamples, for war machines." Jack's eyes narrowed. He punched the communicator off the agent. Then he radioed Noah, "We have samples. Meet me at the Hull Bay." Noah answered. Jack turned to Lily. "Bring Maya to Hull Bay. We will secure her there." Lily nodded. She returned to the habitat. Jack stayed with the agent. He cut the agent's restraints. The man dropped to his knees. Jack said, "Go. Don't. Come back." The agent scrambled away and disappeared into a service corridor. Jack met Noah at the Hull Bay. Noah set the samples on a table. He pressed a button and locked the chest. "They can't open this without my code." Jack nodded. He said, "Good work." They secured the capsules in a storage locker. Jack stood back and sighed. He thought of Maya. He hoped she was safe. They returned to her habitat. Maya sat on her cushion. She watched them approach. Lily smiled and said, "You're safe." Maya nodded. She whispered, "I felt fear." "But I trust you." Jack knelt. He said, "I will always protect you." Maya looked at Jack and said, "Thank you." Her voice was soft but clear. Jack felt warmth in his chest. Noah checked the sensors. "The threat is gone. Vents secure. Alarms reset." Jack nodded. He stood beside Maya. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Together they looked at the small habitat he built. Jack thought of the day's events. The threats had been real. But he and his team had kept Maya safe. He knew more challenges awaited. But for now, they had won this battle. Jack said, "We will be ready." Maya smiled and squeezed his hand. Jack looked at the stars through the habitat. "Window," he whispered. "Unity and protection are our path forward." And he knew they would face whatever came next together. Jack Harper stood at the entrance of the crystal caverns on Oro 5. Jagged walls of glowing crystals formed a narrow path into the depths. The crystals cast colored lights on the damp ground. Jack adjusted his helmet light and stepped forward. Maya walked beside him. Her small hand held his larger one. She wore a simple suit to protect her from sharp crystal edges. Jack glanced at her. She looked determined. He said softly, "Are you ready?" Maya nodded. "I will guide you. Trust me." Jack squeezed her hand. They entered the first chamber. Crystals grew like tall trees. Each crystal hummed with energy when he brushed his hand against it. Jack marveled at the sound. Maya said, "These crystals test your heart. Face your true self." Jack frowned. He thought of his past, the battles he fought, the lives he took. He held his breath. "I will stand strong," he whispered. Maya led the way deeper. A crystal arch glowed brighter than the rest. Jack stepped through. The ground shook. Light faded. He saw his reflection in the arch surface. The reflection spoke. "You are weak." Jack's heart raced. He raised his chin. "I am strong and I protect." The reflection laughed. "You protect? You take lives?" Jack closed his eyes. He thought of Lily and Noah and Maya. He remembered Mercy. He opened his eyes. He touched the crystal. It glowed and hummed. The arch shimmered and vanished. Jack stepped forward. Maya smiled. "You faced out, now we go on." They entered another tunnel. Water dripped from the ceiling. Jack's boots splashed. He felt the weight of the trial. They reached a crystal pool. Its surface was smooth like glass. Maya said, "Look into the pool." Jack knelt and gazed. His eyes grew distant. He saw memories, a child crying, a man begging, a friend falling. Tears filled his eyes. He whispered, "No more." He placed his hand on the pool's edge. Images faded. The pool glowed blue. Steam rose. A bridge formed across the water. Jack stood and turned to Maya. She nodded. They crossed. At the other side, the ground rose steeply. They climbed a crystal staircase. Each step felt unstable. Jack steadied Maya. She looked down. He said, "I am here." She smiled and climbed. At the top, a chamber opened. A single crystal spire rose from the floor. It glowed white. Jack walked forward. Maya whispered, "Pick it." Jack reached out. The spire pulsed. Images filled his mind. Earth and Aurora, 5 living together in peace. Communities built around unity. Jack's single quotes chest warmed. He touched the spire. It brightened. Energy flowed through him. He felt hope. Maya stepped forward. She placed her hand on his. Together they held the spire. A beam shot upward through the cavern roof and out to the sky. Above ground, the Zoran High Council watched from a distance. They felt the beam. The ground trembled. The beam faded. The council elder said, "The trial is complete. They are bonded and worthy." Others bowed. Jack and Maya exited the cavern. The sky above glowed pale. They felt the calm after the test. Jack looked at Maya. "I passed because of you." Maya shook her head. "You passed because you believed in mercy and unity?" She smiled. They returned to a campsite. The council gathered around a fire. Elder Zoran stepped forward. His voice was deep and clear. "Jack Harper, you have shown courage and compassion. You survived the trial and proved loyalty to our people." He nodded to Maya. "Maya spoke truth of your bond." Jack bowed. Maya bowed. The council members approached. Each touched Jack's shoulder and Maya's small hand in greeting. Jack felt honored. Maya spoke to the council in their tongue. Jack watched. He learned a few words, family and honor. Maya turned and said in English, "They welcome us as family." Jack felt joy. The elder resumed. "We grant you official recognition. Our worlds will stand together in peace. You two will lead as ambassadors." Jack looked at Maya. Her eyes shone. Jack spoke, "I accept this honor. I pledge to serve our alliance." Maya placed her hand on his arm. They stood side by side. After the ceremony, they walked back to the station shuttle. Stars filled the sky. Jack looked at the trail of crystals behind. Maya said, "Our journey continues." Jack nodded. "Together we will build unity." As they boarded the shuttle, Jack glanced back at Aurora 5. He felt pride. He had faced his trial and won not just for himself, but for 2 worlds. Maya nestled beside him. He held her hand. They watched the planet shrink below. Jack whispered, "We are ready for the next chapter." Maya smiled and closed her eyes, dreaming of home and the future they would shape together. Jack Harper sat in the shuttle's cockpit as it approached orbital station Horizon. The blue planet glowed below. Beside him, Maya watched through the window. Her pale lavender skin reflected the light. She turned to Jack and asked quietly, "What awaits us?" Jack smiled softly. He said, "A new beginning. We return as ambassadors." Maya nodded and placed her hand on his arm. The shuttle docked, alarms blinked, and lights hummed. Jack and Maya stepped into the corridor. Officers and crew paused to watch. Some bowed their heads in respect, others whispered. Jack led Maya through a crowd that parted for them. He felt pride and nervousness. He glanced at Maya. She held his hand and walked with grace. They reached the main hall, the same one where the ceremony took place. Banners hung on walls. Chairs were set in rows. At the front, the Admiral and Zoran Council members stood waiting. Jack and Maya approached. The Admiral spoke first. His voice carried through the hall. "Captain Harper, Maya, welcome home. You have returned from Aurora 5 as symbols of unity. Your trial proved your bond is true." Jack knelt. Maya joined him. Both bowed respectfully. The senior Zoran Council member stepped forward. His robes shimmered. He said softly, "We honor your courage and mercy. You carry our hope. Earth and Aurora 5 stand together." Jack rose. He said, "Thank you. We accept this trust." Maya added, "I pledge to share our culture and learn yours. Together we will build peace." Her voice was clear and strong. Applause echoed. Some humans cheered, some Zorans bowed. Jack felt unity in the hall. Lily and Noah stood at the back, smiling proudly. After the ceremony, Jasmine Lee, a human diplomat, approached. She wore a crisp uniform. She held a datapad. She said, "Captain, Ambassador Maya, we have much to discuss. Joint projects, language schools, trade routes. May I escort you to the council chamber?" Jack nodded. He said, "Lead the way." Maya followed. They walked down a wide corridor lined with windows showing space. Jack pointed at a passing cargo ship. "That carries supplies to Aurora 5? Jasmine said, "Yes. We plan to send teams soon." "You will join them?" Jack said, "I will. Maya and I will guide them." They entered the council chamber. A large round table filled the room. Humans and Zorans sat around it. Hollowables showed maps of colonies and trade lanes. Jasmine introduced the guests. Jack and Maya took seats between human officers and Zoran delegates. Jack studied the table. He saw names of cities on Earth and settlements on Aurora 5. He said quietly to Maya, "So many places to help." Maya nodded. She said, "Knowledge and culture will unite them." Jack smiled. The meeting began. Jasmine spoke of repairing war damage. On Aurora 5, a Zoran representative named Taller spoke of sharing crystal technology. Performance teams and educators would travel. Jack and Maya would lead the first wave. Jack raised a question. "How do we ensure safety during travel?" "Aurora 5's routes can be dangerous," Taller replied. "We will assign escorts." "Maya's people know safe paths?" Jack nodded. Maya spoke next. Her voice was soft but clear in the chamber. She said, "We should build language centers on both worlds. Understanding each other is key." Humans and Zorans nodded. Plans formed for schools and cultural exchanges. The meeting ended. Delegates rose. Jack and Maya stood. Jasmine said, "Thank you for guiding us. The future is brighter now." Jack bowed. Maya smiled. Later, Jack and Maya walked to their quarters. The station's hallways were busy. They paused at a window overlooking a new construction platform. Workers built a small domed pavilion. A banner read, "Earth Aurora Peace Center." Jack placed his hand on the glass. He said, "We helped that begin." Maya leaned on his shoulder. She whispered, "Our work continues." Jack kissed her forehead gently. In their quarters, Jack unpacked supplies. He found a small jar of soil from Aurora 5. He sprinkled it in a pot. Maya planted seeds in it. She said, "This will be a crystal orchid." Jack watched the tiny sprout glimmer. Maya held Jack's hand. "Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for protecting me." Jack touched her cheek. He said, "Thank you for guiding me to mercy and hope." They sat together as the station's lights dimmed. Jack spoke of Earth's oceans and forests. Maya spoke of Aurora 5's crystal fields and orange sky. They planned their first journey together. The next day, Jack and Maya boarded the first transport to Aurora 5. Crews cheered. They wore new uniforms with Earth and Zoran insignia. Lily and Noah joined. They stood with pride beside Jack. The transport launched. Inside, holodtables showed the route. Jack held Maya's hand. He whispered, "We begin our mission." Maya smiled and leaned against him. As the ship jumped into hyperspace, Jack thought of their journey. He had started as a soldier in war. Now, he traveled as an ambassador of peace. Maya spoke softly. "Our bond changed two worlds." Jack hugged her. He said, "And it will guide the future." Maya closed her eyes, resting against his shoulder. Hyperspace lights danced outside the windows. Together they moved toward Aurora 5, ready to build unity, share mercy, and shape a lasting peace between humans and Zorans.